All right, so we cleared out the deadwood and it looks very scrunched, but that's okay. We'll put it back right as rain. Okay, so looking at our outline, we saw the lay of the land, we cleared out the deadwood, and now we're going to go and zone and enrich. Okay, now the first thing that we'll want to do when we zone and enrich is add that headings, those navigation elements. And what you want to do is think about headings like when you wrote an essay a million years ago, you know, you had to outline it. That's basically what you're doing here. So you had your thesis statement, and then you had a topic sentence that started each paragraph. And within those paragraphs, you had the support for the topic sentence, and maybe a second support sentence for that topic sentence, and then you had another topic sentence, which is another paragraph, and then supports. So all of these pertain to the thesis. Support 1 and 2 here pertain to the first topic sentence, and these last supports pertain to this second topic sentence. So there's a hierarchy, okay? And that is what you're going to do when you're putting in headings here, okay? You might have several of these types of, you know, so you'll have one thesis statement for your syllabus. You might have several kind of topic sentences, and these are going to represent major areas like, you know, the textbook or I'm not sure, catalog course description. But in this document, we're not going to have this third level here, but you will. Now, what I'm thinking about is, for example, topic sentences, policies, or evaluation. There are different types of policies. So your academic honesty policy, you know, your attendance policy, and so forth. So they're going to be level 3s. Okay? Okay, so what you want to do, our thesis statement, the thing that everything pertains to in this document, is going to be the name of the course. So you can choose either Introduction to Information Literacy or InfoLit 1010. I think I prefer Introduction to Information Literacy. So click anywhere on it, anywhere, okay? Now, if I just click on heading 1 here in the styles, you see it's giving me a preview. It looks like a Word document, and I don't want it. I liked the way I had it. It looked nice. So what you want to do is hover over heading 1 and right click. It brings up a box, and now you want to update heading 1 to match selection. Okay, now we have our first heading here, awesome, but it looks the same here, and that's what we want. Okay, now our topic sentences are going to be things like instructor, catalog course description, entry-level standards, and so forth. Okay, the thing is, we had some visual breather room, because this looks very scrunched, in our revised document without putting in those bare paragraph symbols by hitting enter. So I'm going to put those back, but we don't want to hit enter. So just click on instructor anywhere, and let's go to page layout. Okay, now in the second column here you have paragraph spacing. Let's go to before 12 point and see it had some space without putting in the paragraph symbol. And then let's do after, and that's the way I had it. Now you can have it looking however you want. It's no problem. Okay, let's go to home. Okay, my cursor's still on instructor. Now it looks perfect, exactly the way I want it. Okay, so I'm going to hover and right click on heading 2 like we did to heading 1 and update to match selection. So now we have, and do you see it even indents it a little bit so I know that instructor is under Introduction to Information Literacy. Okay. Now, I'm going to put in all the heading 2s, but this time, since we already have it looking exactly the way we want it, we don't have to do any formatting. You just click on heading 2. See? And it puts it in. So heading 2, click on heading 2. So go down the document and put in all of the heading 2s. All right. Now, as I said, we don't have any heading 3s in this document, but you will. Okay, and that would be heading 3, and you're going to update it just the way that we did heading 2. Okay. So now let's add a little more spacing here. Between InfoLit and class hours, it just visually, it needs a little space. So I'm going to add some space under InfoLit 1010. Just click on InfoLit 1010 and add some spacing after. Okay. So I can do this as much as I want to make it visually appealing. Definitely, don't hit the return key because it will prompt the screen reader to say line, line, line. Okay. The other thing that I want to mention is when a student comes to this document and the first thing it's going to read out is the headings. So it's basically giving them the menu of where they want to go. Please do not put in a colon after all of these because when it reads it out, it will say Introduction to Information Literacy, instructor, a catalog course description, entry-level standards, Don't do it that. So let's delete that. Okay. All right. Now, under instructor, this is indented, but there is no tab. Okay, there's not a tab here. How do I do this? So we want to do the same for catalog course description and entry-level standards. So what you want to do is click anywhere in here and go to Home. And under the paragraph column, there is Increase Indent. Now, there are many ways that you can do this. You could just grab the ruler and move it over, and there are other ways. But I wanted to show you this way because you're going to see this same button on D2L. So this is really important. All right, now when we get to textbooks and other course materials, wait. This is a hanging indent, okay? So what we want to do here is create a hanging indent. So I'd like to take a look with me at the ruler, okay? Specifically this little doohickey on the ruler. That's a technical term. So there's an upside down triangle, there's a right side up triangle, and then there's a podium. They symbolize different things. The first upside down triangle symbolizes the first line. So if I move him over, it's only moving that first line over. The second triangle, and it's really difficult to click on, so what you want to do is click on at the very top of that triangle is every line after that. Okay, it represents every other line after that. The podium moves everything. Okay, so to make a hanging indent, what you want to do is grab that second triangle and move him over. Now I have two citations here, so I'm going to highlight the whole thing and then grab that second triangle and move it a ½ inch over. So it will do it both at once. Okay? All right. Now, when we get to special technology requirements, this is literally a hyphen. Okay? I can tell that this is not accessible. An accessible list, basically it would read, it will indicate to the students list. So it'll say list, and then it'll say how many items are on that list. And this is really important for a person who needs a screen reader. In this case, it's only reading -hardware requirements. It's not actually reading that it's a list. So let's delete those hyphens. And let's highlight the whole thing. Oops. There we go. And let's go to the top here, and this is actually a list. So a bullet list. So let's click on there. Okay, so now I have 4 items on my list, which I don't want. There was only 2. So to get rid of some of these bullet points, click on the left of the minimum requirements and hit backspace. Okay, now we only have 2 items on our list, and that's fine for the screen reader group, but visually I still see it as a group of a list of 4. So I'm going to click on the minimum requirements, and I'm going to increase the indent like we did before. Okay, both of them. And now visually it's definitely a list of 2. All right. Okay, now let's go to course goals. So I'm going to click on here, and it shoots us down the page, which is really nice. Now I'm sure you're going to go back to your syllabus and then wonder whether or not you have accessible lists or not. So here is an excellent example of an inaccessible list and an accessible list. Now I can tell this just by looking. What you want to do to tell this is look at the formatting marks. This one says A, period, and space. And this one says 1 period, and then there's a tab mark. So this one's accessible, this one is not. You can also tell, do you see how the A lines up with the text? Okay, that is not accessible. If you look under 4 here, the text lines up with the text. That's accessible. Okay, the last clue is if you want to put your cursor down on that A and then just arrow through these, my mouse goes directly through it so that, you know, like it's text. If you do that with the second one and you arrow over it, it highlights the whole list. Okay, so this is definitely accessible. All right, so what we want to do is get rid of the A, B, and C space, highlight it all, and then ABC is under 1, 2, 3. All right, there we go. Text is lining with text, A period, tab, perfect. So that's an accessible list. All right, so let's go back up to weak unit topic basis. Okay. Now, when I clicked on here, it puts my cursor directly to the left of that heading. Now, the reason why I had a line is because I was trying to move this table down so that it was on one page. You can go in here and tell the table not to break among pages, but that still leaves the heading on this first page, not with the table. So I don't want that. So what we want to do is put in a page break. And I know you probably already know how to put in a page break, but please bear with me. Okay, this is really important. This will help you with other activities. So my cursor is to the left of weak unit topic basis. Let's go to page layout and go to breaks. Okay, now our first one is page break, and that's what we want, but I just wanted to point out this is the only place where you can do section breaks. Okay, section breaks are really, really nice. For example, the handout that we have was made with section breaks. On this page, if you see, the margins are really small, and on this page the margins are normal. So that means that there's a section break between these two pages, so that one page I have different margins than the next. You can do lots of things with this. Okay, it's really helpful. So we're going to put break and then page break. Okay.